Good morning, sir. Good morning. We all have already introduced each other. So maybe one or two more people will come. A gentleman now, Mr. VAIBHAV GOEL is here. His introduction we have already sent across to you. He's from the Reliance Industries HR. He wants to visit our university to understand what we do, but while talking in the morning, I said, so we would like to learn from you what is happening in the real world outside, what the industry requires, what are the trends globally, what kind of a degree, what kind of education, what kind of research should be done. So what we'll do today, I will request him to set the context before we start, giving our solutions and our suggestions. He will tell us what exactly is in his mind. Then we will request Dr. Sanjeev to give out a little presentation on MD University and Dr. Avinash to tell you about MD University in context of what you have said. And thereafter we'll probably have the Vice Chancellorship come down. So I'll request VAIBHAV to say a few words about what's happening in the real world and what exactly you can sit down there.
First of all, very good morning, and I'm really honored. I didn't expect that I'll get to meet such stalwarts today. My very simple objective was to get a first-hand experience of a major university which is a global pioneer now. And I just recall my discussions with Dr. Batra, where we started on a corporate leadership, corporate engagement kind of a thing, and our discussion steered towards how the future of education 21st century looks like. Education and technology happens to be my passion in my own little way. And I get to see from my vantage point how exactly the end product of this huge ecosystem really translates into value creation in our industries. And when I reflect back, it gives me very unique insights that what's really working and what really needs to maybe improve and do things for 21st century differently. Also, I got an opportunity to lead a global HR technology project in Reliance, which was a massive project and got a global recognition as probably one of the best before COVID, and had given me an opportunity at a first hand doing a lot of technology, AI work in HR. And that really also opened my understanding that how the intersection of human and technology should really play out in 21st century. So, I think there are three things I want to touch upon, and to set a context to the discussion. First is, in a country like India, it's such a massive country that whatever we do at global scale finally becomes subsumed and looks like that there's a lot more to do. And whether it's in the business side or whether it's on the education side or whether it's any in the social side. And same way, if you look at some of the data I happen to come across, has not let me sleep for last couple of years. In a country like India, where every year there are about 20 crore students who come out of the school education system and never get a chance to go back. And as a corporate HR person, I think when they will become 30-year-old, 40-year-old, in a technology-driven 21st century, how is that going to translate for us? Same way at a higher education level, the government says that our current capacity is only 27 to 30%, what they call as GER, of the total demographic base. And so that's where I come back that in spite of doing so much, it still looks so little. The challenge is not that the rest of the population is not really getting meaningful job and work and something. The question is how long they're going to get it, because the way the technology is evolving, the requirement of the skills is going to be so different that the normal day-to-day skills are not going to work for them. So when they become 20 years down the lane, most of them people are 40s and 50s. And this is annual number I'm talking about. 20 crore annually is like, it's a huge number, and of course you filter out and you see every year 4, 5 crore, 10, 12 students drop out. So it's a thought which has not let me sleep. And the question is how technology and government, and it's wonderful how government is supporting the online, and UGC is making so much policy changes and bringing the physical and the online education at par. But what I observe in the last 2 years, it has not really scaled up. I remember the Prime Minister making a speech in the Parliament saying that practically after the launch of the Digital University, there should not be a question of how many seats are available. That's how simple it looks like. But things are not simple.
And there are a lot of restrictions also for the tech programs, etc.
Right. So there are definitely some real issues on the execution side, and that's where I am here to do a little bit more understanding that what's stopping it to online education to not to 2 lakh but to 10 crore people. And because in Reliance when we think of scale. So if something is not coming up as a formula to serve 20 crore people, then the formula we still not have it cracked. The second dimension is of course on the AI and the technology piece. And we use quite a bit of AI in corporate learning. But the real game is how AI and people are going to work together. And not just at a bot level. Even in the robotics, for example. So AI, robotics, they're going to all interchange. They're going to be complementary technologies. But how the role of human labor is going to shift in context to that is the more fundamental question than just the development of technology. And the government can bring in some regulations to stop some of the advancement of the technology, but if we continue to do that for long, then we'll lose out the efficiency and the expertise, which means we'll become less and less economically prosperous in the global scale. And so the real question for AI today is not just the AI, it's how AI can augment HI, which I call human intelligence. And ChatGPT we all see, but in my own personal view, I think it's not even the start of things. It's very limited. It has LLM models. Of course, some of the global pioneers are predicting that it can do a lot more. But I'm very much closely, a very close friend of mine is pretty much an AI practitioner for the last decade, done some wonderful stuff, and he shared some very good insights with me on those fronts. Third dimension for me is about education and the employability skill. And we have a conversation today about how education can really bridge the employability skill gap. But I would take it a step further and say that in a country like India, our institutions should create entrepreneurs. And I think it's like a moonshot. But the point is, if we aim for the moonshot of entrepreneur, we'll definitely bridge the employability skill gap. But if we aim for the employability skill gap, I think there also we will fall short. So I think these are the 3 very clear themes in terms of, in the context of India, like what is the view here in the room. Great global scale, top quality stuff happening, but what more here the luminaries think this should be achieved. Second is the AI augmenting the HI, human intelligence. And third is from employability skill gaps to entrepreneurship. How a university like Amity is really looking at it to take it to the next level. Thank you.
Yes. Surely, ma'am. In fact, ma'am, actually, Brigadier Sharma has done a very beautiful thing. In the beginning only he asked give the context of this entire training. So I think you have made our work also easier. Now luckily you are meeting Dr. Shukla in two capacities. So one as a IIT Kharagpur connection of yours, and then as a Vice Chancellor. So what we can do, instead of giving the presentation, I am showing you a small video which is a total summary of the entire university, right? And thereafter, as per your discussion, which you have already raised those queries, we can just go ahead with that, and in between, Mr. Avinash also can speak about the online program.
Should we call Dr. Pandya, sir?
Amity University has been ranked among the top 3% universities globally by QS Times Higher Education, the world's leading university ranking organizations. It has also been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for the past 10 years. Amity has also set a new standard of academic excellence in India by becoming Asia's only not-for-profit university to be awarded US Regional Accreditation as well as accreditation by the UK's Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education. The university is part of the not-for-profit Amity Education Group, established more than 2 decades ago. Today it is home to over 175,000 brilliant students, pursuing over 400 programs in 60 diverse disciplines across 11 universities and 28 schools. Amity Group's vision of building a global knowledge network has led to establishing 16 international campuses in London, Singapore, Dubai, New York, San Francisco, Amsterdam, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Tashkent, Mauritius, Nairobi, and South Africa. Amity's strong focus on research and innovation has led to the filing of more than 2,100 patents. Amity is also engaged in conducting more than 500 high-end government-funded as well as international research projects, including those funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, United States Agency of International Development, and the Leverhulme Trust UK. In the field of management, the university has developed more than 4,200 case studies in recent years that have been bought in 106 countries by over 2,600 leading institutions and organizations. These research-focused initiatives have led to Amity being listed as one of the top universities in India by Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievements, Ministry of HRD, Government of India. Recently, the Indian Intellectual Property Office of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, has conferred the National Intellectual Property Award 2020 on Amity for being the top Indian academic institution for patents and commercialization. Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates in a survey conducted among 11,000 employers worldwide by Times Higher Education UK. It is a testimony to Amity's excellent placement record, wherein over 11,000 students have secured placements in 900 organizations in 2021. The pursuit of excellence across diverse disciplines has also resulted in Amity being ranked 22nd in the country by the prestigious National Institutional Ranking Framework, NIRF, Government of India. The university has also pioneered the concept of industry-led institutions, where leading organizations such as multinational conglomerate Tata, the UK's Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, and CII have set up institutions in partnership with Amity on campus. Attracting some of the most brilliant students, Amity has instituted India's largest private scholarship programs, benefiting over 25,000 students. These students are blazing a trail of success, having filed over 800 patents, published more than 6,500 Scopus indexed research papers. For these students, Amity's curricula and pedagogy lay great emphasis on industry interactions. In fact, Amity has facilitated students' interaction with over 50 global gurus and Nobel laureates, besides 1,500 corporate leaders. Further, Amity's unique initiatives to nurture professionals for the global stage include Study Abroad Program, 3-Continent Program, and the Global Study Program at leading universities in USA, UK, Dubai, Singapore, and Australia. Amity has also awarded over 2,000 PhD fellowships to brilliant researchers to carry out path-breaking research in thrust areas that will impact the development of the country. The award-winning Innovation Incubator on campus has nurtured more than 100 companies and attracted investments of over 40 million US dollars. The campus also has many high-end research centers, including ones set up with Nobel laureates. Amity University is dedicated to grooming future leaders to become not only competent professionals but also value-driven human beings with a deep passion for humanity, who together will change the world.
So that was the university at a glance, Mr. Vaibhav, and this is a few months old video, so one more university is being added during this time. And the statistics regarding the research and everything which is being given here, I am very sure that Dr. Datta is going to endorse it. It's now increased considerably. Only few things which I want to say which you should be taking into notice is that this university as a higher education institution started in 1995 with a business school, Amity Business School, and today we have now reached to this stage, and as a university we came into existence in 2005, the first university, Uttar Pradesh, where we were here, with campus in Noida, Greater Noida, Lucknow, Dubai and Rajkot as offshore campuses. And if you just see as a student of science, you can see this curve is actually not exponential, even it is actually almost vertical. So these are the few things, and only one thing which I would like to tell you about is the person behind this entire education group and this universe is our founder president, Dr. Shokya Chauhan, who started his journey with 3 sterling pounds in 1968, going to Germany, and then he decided he should be coming back to India to to see India as a super education power by 2030. That's the vision of the foundation, that we should be having a university in each of the state, and if God is kind, in each of the country of the world. So that is the foundation, that is the work which we are all doing under his guidance, under his visionary leadership. And he always says, this is a quote of him, when he says, when God pushes somebody, inspires somebody, leads somebody, no power in the world can stop such a person. And we all, under this dynamic leadership of Dr. Chauhan, along with our chairperson, Dr. Amita Chauhan, she is taking care of all the schools and preschools in India. So one school which we started in 1991 in Delhi, in Sake, today we have 28 schools. You must have seen the presentation. And global campuses, and these are all the real photographs of all these campuses. So what I can vouch is, if we are saying 1.9, it can be 1.9 and plus only, it cannot be a single iota less. So this is all about, and the visionary chancellor of this university is Dr. Atul Chauhan, who is himself a graduate of London School of Economics. He is having a degree of technology also and a degree of economics also. So all the questions which you have already raised, I would be recommending. The first thing which you asked was about online education, like when PM Modi said that, like, when it's digital university, then why this restriction of the number and all. And I'm so happy that now you have already met the Vice Chancellor. So these 3 questions you have raised, I think during the discussion we are going to speak about this also. In the meantime, I will be requesting my colleague Dr. Avinash to speak about the online education.
Thank you, Dr. Bansi. Once again, welcome Mr. Vaibhav, Honorable Vice Chancellor. My little introduction is that I've completed 25 years with Amity now, and started with the distant education. When I joined here, I found that the students' parents were coming to campus, the other campus. Then this campus was not started. They were coming to the campus, and they were so enriched and enlightened and delighted with the kind of infrastructure and the academic periphery. So they always used to approach. Then Dr. Shukla was also she was the DG of business school. They used to approach her, and especially the industry she was looking after. They used to approach her that, ma'am, we also need to have some kind of program where we can also engage when we go there. And it is not that only the business school's parents, but also the parents of this school, which was adjacent to the business school. So then it was conceptualized, this concept of distant education, and then I was hired, in fact, to launch this program. And in a very short span of time, we found a lot of encouragement from the people who joined. And today is the history, in fact. We have 200,000 students studying across the various programs. It was a huge challenge, as you mentioned. Until recently, there was no regulation for the online. And Prime Minister Modi was advocating for this digital education and digitalization, perhaps into every sphere of the aspects. We also traveled in year 2018-19 for the International Conference for Online Education. And we found that the country is missing this online regulations. So since then we started, in fact, not only that, we started working very early, way back in the year 2007, when then President Honorable Kalam, in fact, he proposed one concept for the African students with our Honorable Founder President. And then he proposed that we should impart some education, we should provide some education to the African nation students, because they've been asking for some kind of assistance from India, and the education could be the only best resources to be given to them free of cost. And then, but then it was a challenge that there was no online or any such satellite. Then we decided that could be only the satellite mode that we can teach to the student. And for long years that we taught them, the African student of 49 countries, we taught them along with the other universities, 4 or 5 other universities. But Amity being very prominent, in fact, catering to almost about 85% of the total population of this. But then we decided this is of course fine. Could be a maybe because there was a lot of challenge in this satellite mode, buffering of voice. The voice was also coming a little late for them. The government of India then came to our campus for reviewing and for extending this program. But then we proposed, no, when online is established, why not this? But they said that we do not have any regulation in the country. We approached various ministries, regulators, and then finally, in fact, resulted, we were asked to create some kind of a regulation within 48 hours, and we did that. We provided it to the Ministry of Human Resource and of course the regulator. And we were very fortunate that we were the very first university which was accorded the approval to offer the online in this country. It was again a challenge for us, is that you talked about the learning management system. The government used to have their own platform called SWAN. We had this competency, we worked very hard on this. So it was tough for us to convince them is how to compete with the SWAN platform. And we gave a presentation and it was then successful. Then the government very first time, it was a history in fact, they created this provision to accord approval for the LMS to very private bodies also. So this is how this started, sir, and number of programs that we. Then we realized that how to come closer to the vision of Honorable Prime Minister is that GER that you talked of. We are not, because this, of course, sleepless night, and 20 crore students are passing out every year, and then you see the and then many of them, in fact, majority of them are clueless about their future education, their skill enhancements, etc. We are trying our level best, in fact, to leverage all this, emerging tech programs, embedding in all this program across that we are offering. offering the program in the domain of management, humanities, finance, and of course IT, many other programs that we have. But there are certain challenges in the and of course restrictions also for the government, because if we want to start it something full-fledged, if you talk of the IT programs or some programs, there are a lot of restrictions that you can't offer this in online. A huge disconnect, I must say. You can't offer the program through online just because it requires the practical components without understanding that the concept of virtual lab is now ancient. So all this provision stands, but still there has been a lot of disconnects, which is hampering the large pool of students, aspiring candidates for joining such education modality. That is because we have tried our best, in fact, to reach out to all tiers. It is not that the tier 1, tier 2, all just because we are stuck. Sir, you will appreciate that we have over 100, our students are pursuing this program from over 115 countries, and they are enjoying this program. We have designed our program in a way that they should not have any problem for them, especially for the examination. You must have heard of this examination, because the method and the methodology of examination, which is also approved by the regulator, which is called the remote proctored examination. So you can do it. This is web enabled, and also followed by Honorable Vice Chancellor suggested is that Avinash, this is web enabled technology is fine, but why not there should be the intervention of the physical proctor also. So with her consent, for every concept that we need to introduce is to take approval. So she very strongly adhered and suggested that you have to have the intervention of. Then we started, it's a huge pool of, human proctor also monitoring the examination through. But sir, the challenge, as you mentioned, is that to reach out to the vision of Prime Minister of 50% education rate, enrollment rates for the education, and that too supported with the quality education. So that is very, very important. The industry has a huge role. Today, you give degree to any learner, management or any program that you think of. If it do not have a blend of industry, then it is treated as 50%. And be it online education or be it any other education, we are trying to add that, because you know that the government has complemented that the degree earned by any conventional student will be at par, or the degree earned by any online learner would be at par to the degree earned by conventional students. But then it could be a little good breathing for the student, at least to approach to the public sector and the government for securing their job, maybe at the entry level, or maybe for the UPSC examination or any other examination, even for the PhDs also. But technically, the university should endeavor, in fact, to bring that quality level. Otherwise, if we don't justify our program, which is at par to our regular program, then it is not the good kind of approach that we have adopted. So all this, sir, we see, because it is not only the educational institution, but also the private bodies, and especially like Reliance and many other business houses, is to contribute their views, because as of now, it is independent approach of the regulators and some of the bureaucrats is to take decision and implement this. But we need the participations of big business houses also to contribute their views. Otherwise, it will be something within these premises. So this has to be a good. I consider it should be a good approach, in fact, to put across the voice to the regulators and the government, is to bring more enhancements in the education system, is to come at par to that minimum at least of 50% of GER. with this, any questions that you might have, we can always discuss. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Professor. I would, I think you're leading the way. MIT University is leading the way without a doubt. And there's always so much more to be done. I just have one, from your experience, I want to gather this insight, that for the quality and the scale, which is still a moonshot, I would call it. 50% itself is a moonshot, 100% we are not even talking about. Out of the three factors, which is technology, for achieving the quality and scale, technology, teachers, and regulation. Out of these three factors, how would you rank which is the biggest constraint right now between the technology, the teachers' availability and good quality teachers who can teach online, and third is regulation? As we stand today, how would you say which is the first constraint?
Undoubtedly the regulation. Regulators has their own view, and especially which I mentioned is the tech programs. I would not advocate for this engineering program of course, and or the research program, but any other program. For example, we offer a program. I mean, to understand this, Honorable Vice Chancellor is also here, and my fellow members are here. You can offer IT program, BSc IT or MSc IT program in the distance mode, but cannot offer. There is thick difference in distance and online. So you can offer this program through the distance which you are offering, but you can't offer this program through the online. Why? Because there is a component of practical involved in this. That's true. And what is the difference and how you justify this BSc IT or MSc IT program, for example, is that the student can approach and come to your campus for doing this practical, and then you can justify that they've got a genuine degree. A. B is that you cannot give these privileges to the students of distance learner. As I mentioned, that please distinguish this distance and online separately. The student of distance, the student joined the distance education, will have to come to the campus and especially to the headquarters to write their examination, and that too from the CPT mode, computer-based days, but not that practical. So these are the disconnect, and this is one that we have recommended this. What is the actual differentiations? The regulation reveals is that 90% of the components for the online and distance regulation is moral, rather 95% is moral sensitive. It has to be, even for the distance learner, it has to be supplemented with the online content and the LMS and everything. But in terms of the conduct of examination, the student got to come to your campus to write the examination. That is a huge disconnect. Why would the student under the present circumstances would come to university, and then you are also restricted to enroll the students for such programs, BSc, IT, MSc, even for the BSc. For example, if I have to offer some BSc program, then you have to enroll the student within this zone of Noida and nearby. Jurisdiction. Territorial jurisdiction is the biggest challenge. So now, if you talk about this, don't you think that this is not restricting the students for joining such a prestigious and important program?
Is this UGC relaxed on this for online?
Not at all, not at all. They are very particular about this. When we, of course, we applied, they have categorized the programs within the list of ODL and online is that you can only go for online program for this specific program, and ODL distance for ODL is open distance, not online distance, open distance. So you can go for this. A large number of students, you are restricting them for the education. So that's the challenge. Then if you talk of anthropology, they have again restricted and bring this to the environmental science. So all these important programs where you think a learner can get a lot of benefit, out of online educations or the online system, they are restricted. Not less than about 100 programs that you can think of has been put into this. So number one is of course regulation. Number two is that if you talk of the second point was your teachers. Faculty is fine. Again, they have the restrictions. Faculty is that you cannot involve more than 30% of the total resource. For example, if you have, they have mentioned that you have to have 2 faculties in every program, and additionally, if you want to engage faculty from outside, they have restricted it to 30%. So the moment you complete 30%, because you got to give all this information to UGC every year through your internal quality, which is SICA. So you got to give this information to UGC. So that is again a barrier. Of course, you engage the faculty, and faculties are, that's also very unique when you are offering a program like MBA and BBA. You don't expect that 2 faculty can teach MBA program with 18-20 specialization. You have the implementation of AI almost in all the programs. Then you don't expect the 2 faculty can teach. But that is up to the universities to engage the number of faculty. There is no restriction. Minimum is 2, maximum or anything could be 200 or 300. That's not the restriction. Faculty is fine. Faculty is not a challenge. The first challenge which I mentioned is that. And the third was what was the third one? Technologies, yes. Again, we being little intelligent right since the beginning, we conceptualized our LMS, and we managed, because the first question was across the table is that how would you justify that it is better than our SWAM platform? So answering this was such a challenge. I'm talking of year 2017-18. So answering, we cleverly informed them, and we said we can't be better, but we consider it could be at par. So it is not only one university, but it is so majority of the university who got the approval from UGC for offering online program, they have adopted SWAM platform of UGC. So tech is one challenge for technically also and regulatorily also. Otherwise, tech is up to the universities and the institution, the way you handle your tech. So the implementation, for example, AI. We have a very unique approach we have, in every program we have integrated one AI tutor, and we call Professor ME. So ME is the one, it is not that you ask anything and everything and she'll answer, but she'll bring you around that, so that, for example, if during my studies, if some words or some sentence where I find it a little difficult, I can straight away ask Professor Ami, and Professor Ami will amicably reply, and you can always. So implementation of Ami, then examination also is where we have AI. We have in fact every sphere we have used AI implementation, but we don't know how many universities and other, because if the way we handle this program, if we compare ourselves with any other colleges and the universities offering online program, maybe they have their own challenges. I don't want to condemn them, but see the kind of could be digression of quality, be a challenge for the regulator, also for the universities and institutions.
One of the thing which Avinash has not shared, I think the strongest point what MIT has, that we have the online student support system.
Yes.
And that's a huge. And whether the students are from our distance learning program or whether they are from the online program, the kind of the support they get from our call center, which is the student support center, That's a huge, and it's not very easy for every university to establish such a big student support system.
And we have also added AI support also in supporting the student. Otherwise, online education is of course support. If there is no student support or not appropriate student support, it is nowhere actually. So support is very, very important. AI has supported us a lot.
Dr. Avinash, I've got a point with you for my neutral thinking. Regulator is not to be blamed for anything.
No, it is not a matter of blame, it is a disconnect
Yeah.
that I am talking of.
See, why-
It is not a blame, but it is a gap that I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the point. See, teacher, technology, and regulator. If the regulator is not there, teacher and technology, they will do whatever they want. So, regulator, whether any regulator, AICT or QGC or anything, they lay down the terms and conditions of an online platform to run it. Now, if you see the programs of the GATELX University online program, AI and I'm audible, sir?
Yes. You are talking of Great Lakes.
Yeah. AI and ML programs and all.
Ah.
See, why the regulatory is there? First of all, whatever the teacher teaches the students with the help of the technology, whether it follows the norms and conditions at a particular level, whether
Are you talking of the conventional or the online?
Only.
Online, there is no intervention of regulator for
Yeah.
offering any program.
So that's what I'm saying is it is how the productivity on a program is launched and the regulator has, he's lays down, for, let's say for BSc IT or let's say MSc IT, certain period of theoretical classes, certain periods will be practical classes. But the physical, why the physical education is more preferred than the online education is, because in that practical when the student goes, he is better educated and his application and his productivity and his employment opportunity outside is much more viable.
But as Mr. VAIBHAV very rightly mentioned, and he has 20 crores students passing out every year, and to accommodate them and you cannot perhaps judge them to go to premier institutions and or for that matter any other institution to join this conventional program. So
I'm just talking as a guideline, which should be there, and it should be in the mind of RIL has got the best of RIL has got the best of
lot of discussion inside online because
See, these regulators were having the guidelines for the regular students also. So the way they have relaxed, if the university is there, they do not ask the university to follow all their norm, like they don't come for the approval of the programs. They assume that if UGC has given the approval to a university or listed that university in the approved list of most of the regulators like AICT and all, they assume the university is following the AICT norms. And they don't have to come and check whether the university is.
Not required.
Yeah. So online education is a new education. It will take some time, and I think with the experience, they will be relaxing the norms for online education because some discipline they have not still relaxed that provide the online education because it's the new way of teaching.
Yeah.
Now, if you take the mechanical engineering, no matter the virtual labs are not available. Secondly, for mechanical engineering or civil engineering or electrical engineering, you need to soil your hands also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it will take time till you can technology assisted labs can be created, and there are hardly the university which have created their own virtual labs. Ministry of Education, when they have with the help created some virtual labs which were very, very helpful at the time of COVID pandemic. We use those virtual labs created by the ministry in addition to our own virtual labs, as well as because that time the virtual labs were accessible from across the globe, from other universities also. That's how during the COVID time lab-based education was delivered, and I think government will be taking, because whatever that they have said, this should be the GER, to achieve the GER, I think government will be relaxing over a period of time to some university, not across the board, to all the university, that you can offer the technology enabled or the lab-based education also online. But then university have to provide that kind of confidence to regulators, that
yeah.
we are capable of doing and delivering that quality education, because at the end of the day it's nothing, it's the quality education, and where you are able to develop the skills, competencies which are required for the employability. You don't have to give the piece of certificate to the enrolled student, but you have to prove that the student have developed those skills and competencies. So every university need to think innovatively how we will be able to demonstrate. So it is the capability of the university, and if you are able to demonstrate, so the regulators will come forward. Say, okay, you are delivering, yes, we give you the on pilot basis even. Okay, do this one program. For example, RCI has very, very stringent norms for the the pilot program we have done for the RCI, and after that they have opened for the rest of the universities. So you have to show your capability. Yes, we can do it, and this is the way we will do it. The innovation is the mantra. So let's, Vinash, what challenge we are facing, let's look at that challenge and we go to the government and to the regulator, give us a chance, this is the course we can, lab-based course, and this will be our modality to give the lab-based experience to the students, and developing those kind of the skills which are needed, the technical skills, from the technical program. And I think maybe you will get a chance to deliver one program, and if your experiment proves successful, the others will also follow. So somebody has to be a trendsetter.
I'm very conscious of time. I know it's all of your precious time, but I'll just share a couple of thoughts. It's a beautiful discussion. I totally agree with you, with your ma'am, that this entire regulatory challenges will kind of ease out in the next 3 to 5 years. The direction is very clear. I think the primary challenge is going to be around quality, and in a way, that's what you're saying. The quality, when I say in 3 to 5 years, I also feel the primary challenge will turn from technology to teachers.
Human intervention is the most important.
Yes. Technology already is at a level, I would say, still underutilized, under-applied in a particular for a solution. But technology is pretty much around. So I think you will see in next 2 to 3 years, fantastic applications of technology coming. I can clearly see the challenge is the shortfall of 1 million teachers here. So if you say that, okay, I can't go from 2 lakh students to, let's say, 20 lakh because the regulatory challenges. So let's say tomorrow morning regulatory challenges are gone. Then what is the biggest challenge? Teachers. And it's not a number problem, it's a quality problem also. And I fundamentally believe, I did some global study, again out of my passion, the global education of few countries, how it has evolved, some of the best considered, of course Singapore, but they are very small, so they can do whatever they want. South Korea has a typical India kind of a problem that everything is all about competitive examinations. Like we have film stars, they have star teachers who earn millions of dollars every year, but very, very stressful system. China made tremendous changes in its education system in the last 2 years. In fact, scrapped some of the policies and trying to improve its institutions rather than driving the other BYJU'S type systems. What happened to BYJU'S naturally here? Actually, China stopped BYJU'S kind of systems 2 years back by policy. But I think one of the fantastic case study globally to look at is Poland. Poland was not in among the top 30, 40 countries, and just within 20 years it jumped into among the top 10 and hovering around top 5. It's a country of constraints and they had limited budget. Somebody became an education minister, he decided, I can't build buildings, I can't give grants, but I'll invest in teachers. And I'll give flexibility. And that has proved to be the best model globally, that all the problems of quality, everything will be solved if you invest in teachers. They don't have the best of the infrastructure, but the education has become the best. So that's what I would leave it.
No, you are absolutely right. Even for regular programs, today every university is talking about the faculty shortage. Because for the regular teacher, you need to have from different program, 1:10 student faculty ratio to 1:15, 1:20, 1:25. That's the kind of the ratios are there in different disciplines and the level of program. And most of the university do not have the required student faculty ratio. So when you come to the online education or distance learning education, there also you need to have the teachers, and right from the developing the course material to the e-content to the examination questions, so many things, and student support. So I think the time has come when investment in teachers development and making them that I think the teaching education, educators profession is the best profession, educator. So the profession is the more demanding, but that also is the quality is needed and how those good teachers can be attracted. I talk to my students when they have the concluding ceremony and I say, please raise your hands who all want to be a teacher in school or teacher in a faculty in a university. Hardly I get any name. Because they also understand, being a marketer is not that tougher and being the HR person is not that tougher, but being the teacher is the toughest profession, because everything is, time bound. If you do not achieve your targets or Q1, take it to Q2, Q3 and all this, but you can't take odd semesters education to even semester and even semester education somewhere else. So it's everything is time bound. So this requires tremendous discipline in teachers as well as in stewards. And then there's another target on the teachers is because the ranking, everybody needs the ranking. You cannot escape from research. You cannot escape from the industry engagement. You cannot escape for so many things. So the faculty need to be the all-round faculty. It cannot be the one way. But I think if we want to be a global guru as a nation, and this is the one area which needs to be focused. For us as educators, future is very bright. And I always consider that. And I tell my students, come to this profession, come to this sector. This will give you the lasting, the employability. Even after 70 years, you can still be a teacher. Nobody is going to stop you. You can still be the researcher. Yes, yeah.
I also want to touch upon one more point, and I think those stretching. I saw a lot of discussion around technical education, but I think if you look at the percentage of students or demographic going into technical education, I'm not sure if it's more than 10% or maybe 15% at max.
Not
Right. And when I look the rest of the 80-90%, maybe it's not that difficult. We don't need virtual, mechanical, all kind of labs. And I'll give an example, London School of Economics. It is launched actually global education degrees, which are essentially virtual, 80-90%. And they give University of London equivalent certificates, not equivalent, actually University of London certificates for both degrees, which is considered at par whether you stay there for do it or you do it through global education. And when you look at their intake in the commerce, finance side, that number is not small.
Our starting is
Wonderful meeting, ma'am.
So you are going to be here in the campus till when?
As long as he wants.
I was
Because
at
I
1 o'clock.
will 45 years. After that, I would like to meet you.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Sunil is here.
So, I think if we little bit change the lens there, things could be much easier and scalable.
So Joshi sir, issue of technology. Are our students ready? Sir, my question is for technology, since Dr. Pandit heading the technology. What do you feel is the gap? You as HR in Reliance, where is the gap that the industry feels there's a gap in the technology side for the students who are B.Techs and M.Techs? Where is the actual gap? Or is the gap too much? Then how are you filling that gap? Are you doing in-house training? How are you addressing this issue? And how is the gaps?
Do you want me?
Yes, both of you.
Yeah, I'm VAIBHAV, Dr. Unas Kumar Pandey, Director of Engineering and Technology at University. So, as you have said about the employability gap and all, what I believe is, and this was the, the question is always in the mind of the academia and the industry. And it has become kind of yaksh prashna that was being asked academia and how to bridge the gap between these two. It is not being resolved for maybe centuries. It was being there, this question was there maybe when you are talking about the technical education in 80s, 90s and all these things. And what I believe right now is the high time when we are narrowing down that gap in various initiatives and all these things because of the thought process that is going on among the industry and academia both sides. But having said that, yes, still there is a gap because see our teaching, learning, pedagogy and our curriculum that need an overhauling of by involving industry in a huge way. There are problems on both the sides in that sense. What I understood is, number one is the thought process of the industry, which they sometimes have some sort of agitation to come forward to take handhold the academic institutions because of their own engagements and their own associations with their business processes and all. Academia, of course, we as an MIT University, we always chase for looking for how we can involve industry more and more. For that, we are working very closely. I mean, in the academic processes that we are involving the industry. Say starting from the curriculum development, starting from the training, starting from the placements and internships, that all will be used to involve the academia. Now, how to gap is, if you ask me, because Babu will be responding later on, my opinion, see, what we are doing here in MIT is more and more industry-led courses have been involved in the curriculum, which is being conceptualized by the industry, which is being made, I mean, that has been developed by the industry and delivered by the industry. Because we want that what is the recent trends going on in the industry, that to be delivered to the students so that they can have the right skills that make them proper employable when they are coming out of their campuses. So for that we have a lot of industries right now. We had been with the ServiceNow, Salesforce, Wipro, and Tata Technologies, of course, with that competency centers that we had been already been established in. Airtel. So all wherever we are offering our engineering programs, engineering courses, there we are. Now AI and AI Center has been developed in a huge way, and then because the intervention of AI in every field right now going on. And we had that type as well, like Thales, the company that has been now handholding our students for providing, very innovative type of projects for their final year projects and otherwise as well. So I think this will be in this one. If you want to come closer, build the gap between, or bridge the gap between, then both the parties has to come together, because as I said, academia is always willing to come forward, and we are chasing for that always. So I will request now through VAIBHAV and all these, how we can again process further, because I know that I have developed an industry-led course, say for example, for a student. Until and unless it is not been given by the industry, it is all three things will be going on wings. And for that, sometime industry says, okay, we will be following the train-the-trainer approach. I mean, we will train your faculty, then the faculty should take care of. Again, that will be a different altogether, a story altogether will come up. So these are some of the initiatives through which we can come up, and of course we are doing it. Like as I said, Service now our student, 200, 300 students, they are training their own trainers. Salesforce, we are working already. I think must be doing all these products as well. And for cyber security, again, we have connected with Palo Alto and Wipro, and Thales also coming with a lot of such type of initiatives. So this way it can be done forward, and best I think that you would like to comment more on it.
Sure. So, Dr. Pandey, if I getting back, thank you. So I think 2-3 things are very important, and again, all my observations and suggestions are going to be for the technical education. First, a lateral thinking thought I'm going to share. If I make a beeline of the top 20 companies which are into technical PSUs and non-PSUs, private companies put together, and if I see between the age of 60 to 70, how many retired good technical people would be there in the country, this number would run into few lakhs. And UGC has already given a professor of practice as a concept, which is, I think, fantastic.
Yes.
So you have those experienced, solid leaders, technical managers, and you have a mechanism to engage them. And this is my first of all the ideas I can think about. I think this could go really far and it could be the most effective one. And many of these are actually good pensioners. I don't think they're looking for money.
Yeah.
They would be very
Very
happy,
happy to work.
very happy to contribute. They don't have to come to 9 to 6. Now the question is how to leverage them. I don't think it will be a good idea to get them into classrooms. They will come, they will speak, students will doze off, and they will go back. I think they should be utilized to identify some of the practical projects and industry's problem. So it's like forming a core of those people with different areas of expertise, and what could be the problems and the projects that the student should do. And students as teams should be tasked to work on those, and they should only work as mentors. And it is not at all about spoon feeding. It's not at all about telling them the concepts. It's simply about, this is the problem. Let me come once a week and see what progress you guys are making. And let them be rated good, bad, ugly. And through them we can also open the channels of real exposure. So for example, if for Reliance or ONGC or Oil India or for IOCL or for any other company, for a specific purpose, industrial visit is required or 2 days exposure is required, those will happen. Today's industry internships and exposure is like you come, you see around, you spend some good time, and then you go back. But I don't think it's going to serve anymore. We have to move from exposure to experiential learning. So this is a thought which has been coming on to me, and I've shared in one more university. And I think this has to be leveraged by both hands. And I can introduce you to a couple of retired MDs and chairmen of some of these big companies who would be more than happy to kind of...
We'll be very happy, sir, when you meet the VC today.
Definitely.
We'll be very happy.
Yeah, so they will love to anchor this kind of initiative. So I can't exactly tell the nuts and bolts how this initiative should be, but I'm sure this will see its own life and it will gain momentum, it will make a difference. And this is of course, I would also say that on the IT related cyber security and all, you can still do many things practically while in education. But it's really difficult on the core economy side. And I have to say now, there's a huge transition happening on the core economy side, everywhere, whether it's energy sector, it's construction sector, even agriculture. But I would say the right point is identification of the right problem statements that students should be working upon. And they should not be graded upon whether they've solved it. They should be graded upon how innovative, creative, and a differential approach they have taken.
Yeah.
A failure in that attempt is also a good outcome. And I can say from my personal experience that I've learned quite a few things what should be done right, but I had a better understanding when I understood what not to do. Right? So when when I failed, I learned more. When I did things well, I had very little learning. So
no, that's all is correct, but there are certain, when you go to the ground, there's certain obstacles, bottlenecks you used to get. For example, say we are working for giving internships to our student. We had a mandatory requirement of internship 4 to 6 weeks of it. So sometimes we face this, although no, I'm not telling every company who does that, but yes, some of the companies they say no, we do not have time to feed these students because of all these engagements. There are certain hesitation points that we had faced into the past. So yes, you are very correct. They will learn better by doing. That is very correct. However, there are practical difficulties are there in that. Yes, of course, they will be doing that projects in groups as well, and we are implementing many innovative ways into that, where we had done every module and then one projects with that module and then project, so that the student, while they are learning that module, and after that what was the outcome, just make a small project based on the module that you have been studied upon. So that we are of course doing. So yes, definitely these points are yes, that professor in practice you have told that we have already started working, and we had already some of them. Now I think next semester we will be having few more that we have done.
My little point was, which I would like to re-emphasize, is to use this professor practice to create a team which can advise, mentor practical projects. And I think, as I can see from where I see the world, the huge 20-30 years of their experience in the real field, their goal should be to work on projects which can bridge this skill gap, what industry wants. Even what industry wants in the future, they have an idea. And typically getting internships, I totally agree with you. Most organizations are existing to be efficient, and somewhere in their efficiency model, beyond a certain number it becomes difficult and they're not very open. And my simple point is that if this route works of doing projects which could be even relevant for the future of industry, could be a better way of giving an industry understanding and employability, bridging the employability skill gap than actual internships that we do currently in the current model. Because we think they've gone for 4 to 6 weeks, they would learn something and come back. But believe me, it's very, very superficial. And so I'm just looking at an alternative model to even make the students better. And I'll definitely introduce to one of the retired MDs of one of the PSUs. He lives in Noida, very nearby. He will be more than happy.
Sure, definitely. So good. One of my colleagues, we have also one tech company here by the name of Uni, which is like ads and all, man-made. So it's a LLP, it's a huge company. You'll see this name maybe Univo. Very soon you'll find this name about grants and all. And we're working very hard. I've requested the CEO of team, Siddharth Banerjee, who was the Asia head also of, he was national head of Google before, and some other, I'm just forgetting. So he is the CEO, so I requested him to come to have a little discussion with you, maybe we discuss on this arena. He has got a very good exposure also in education. Peers and busy. So the last appointment was that. So I have requested him to come. He'll just be joining in 2 minutes. So, this campus is across there. So Mr. Chauhan just called. Mr. Chauhan is the third son of Honorable Founder President Dr. Sukhi Chauhan, Ajit Chauhan. He's a young and very dynamic who has this approach of online education. So we call it Amity University only, which is not confined to this university. So any universities across the world, if eligible to get this approval, I being the fullest member.
I want you to share some thoughts before you go, sir.
आप बात कर लो, डॉक्टर दत्ता बात कर लो, हम तो बात कर लेंगे.
So what AI actually is, what I want your ideas, your thoughts, sir. So we
will go to the lab and we can see and have a look. But before that, we just set up an AI lab last year. Okay, so we have some supercomputing facility like NVIDIA DGX 800 and for computing we have, and we already started. See, AI is about vertical and horizontal. So we're talking about vertical. We started with level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I call level 1, the technology was in 2010, 2015 is level 2, 2015 to 20 is level 3, and what started from 20 and here I call it as level 4. So we have all the LLMs and multi-models and transformer models. So we already have reached this, vertically we have reached in our, So we have a batch, third year batch of BTech AI who are doing a level 4 course. They're actually doing your BERT models and Llama models and diffusion models, and it's purely including RAGs, which is later. So we put this, and this is one. So it will take some time, and we already have a mandate to put an AI course for almost, I think, for every student of this university. We are working with Dr. Avinash also. Last week we had a discussion. Like AI has actually intervened in everybody's life. Let it be Microsoft Excel, let it be content creation, whatever. What I talked about, you need AI. So we are actually making a syllabus. That's the vertical. Horizontal is more interesting because MIT is a very diversified university. We have everything. We have biotechnology, cancer biology, we have management, we have pharmacy, we have fashion technology. The horizontal is big. MIT is very big. We have around 150 such schools. Big. So the point is, we already started. If you come to our lab, we'll show you. Because primarily, healthcare, agriculture, sustainable cities, defense, space. These are the areas where it's predominant, and actually it's dominant everywhere. And I think technology, as you must be knowing, maybe 1 year from now, like, we're waiting for some versions like GPT-5 and all these things. Actually, have you heard this? They made a statement that if you consider GPT-4 as a school kid, GPT-5 will be a full PhD. $7 trillion, they put the budgeting, computing budget is $7 trillion, so that much money.
Really, but there are also a lot of
No, hallucination and all these things. See, if you're talking about the other side, that's fine. See, LLMs will hallucinate, they will have you, but the maturity, see, even if you use the current free version that GPT-4 Open has, I don't think a human being can do it with that extent and that fast. And
question is whether it's an advantage of scaled compute power or really the pattern and intelligence. Because
no, you talk, see, I'm a pure AI scientist. So for me, there's nothing, see, if you ask me, artificial and intelligence, they don't go together. Okay, I completely say that. If it is artificial, it cannot be intelligent.
yeah, correct.
But we lived with this term. And if you ask me, so see, simple. If you ask a very complicated question to a stable diffusion model or an Llama 2 model or a GPT-4 model, background, millions of mathematical operations are taking place, currently we're in billions. We call it as billion, 84 billion trade. Llama 3 is 84 billion trainable parameters. So you can imagine that one command is going to go for billions of floating point operations within a year.
Like Elon Musk was saying, between the time of the 2 keypad strokes, it's eternity for these.
No, you can, that's correct.
What if it's eternity?
See, if petaflop is like 1 second, 10 to the power 15 operations. So we have 10 petaflops. So see, 1 second is 10 to the power 15 floating point operations taking place. 1 keystroke. So anyways, that point is, but in Amity University, what we are looking for is that the horizontal, we are there. We have already done decent work, but if you come to the lab, I'll show you some of the work that we have done. But we are going to scale it up very soon. Maybe 6 months from now, you will find a much, because we started only last year. We have made up something. But what I can tell you is that the basic model is ready. Vertical, we have reached level 4. Horizontal, many things we have covered. 6 months from now or 1 year from now, you will see a massive thing. I mean, this small model will be replicated across the university. We are a big university. So today, let's say we are teaching 1,500 students. It's up to level 0 to level 4, 4 courses. You come 6 months or 1 year from now, you will see maybe 20,000 students are doing that course. The model is ready, and horizontally, let's see how much we can proceed. And because we have, see, cancer biology, biotechnology, whatever you talk about here, we have aquaculture, we have agriculture, we have almost everything, and we're trying. Because AI works on 3 things. You must be knowing: compute power, data, and some architecture. So everything.
Pardon me, I'm asking in advance.
Yeah.
Apology for asking this question.
Everything on this, yeah.
But what's your view in terms of the cost at which this technology is becoming available? Because more technology at higher cost is something which is not going to give benefits to the larger masses. What's your view?
No, I don't think so, because I'll give you an example. You're talking about the training part or the usage part? See, in training part, it's trillions of dollars. OpenAI is using trillions of dollars.
And then they have to get their money back, so they will charge.
No, but let's come back to the usage part. See, the finest premium service of AI, how much they are charging, some $200, something like that. Now, see, let's say I'm a company. So I depute 200 engineers for a project, let's say, okay, and out of that 200, 180 or 190 are basic level coders, or Python coders, or some Java coders. The India IT sector produces only Java coders. They don't actually produce engineer software. Apologies if I have too straight. Now, I buy a premium access of OpenAI, let's say, then how much? Some $200, or maybe $500. That's even less than our one fellow's salary. So you swipe off 180 fellows, okay, and you're at the cost of one fellow, and you're getting a job done. So how do you say it's costly? It's not at all costly.
So, what is the benefit to you in terms of problem statement?
No, you see, it's like 1 year from now, maybe max 2 years from now, you will see a massive disruptive change across the world. I'm not only talking about the IT industry is going to.
We have to up the game on this side.
See, if you see the job roles, see, India IT industry is big. Okay, and mainly it's coding, just some low cost labors, English proficiency, flexibility to work more than 8 hours. So this is a.
English proficiency will not be required with these other
So that's what I'm telling you. So.
But what's your view? Maybe, sorry, sir, half a second. Vaibhavji, I would like to understand is this actually the machineries are the supplement to the human job or it's complementing the human jobs? That's very important things to understand.
So first it is going to supplement.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Konika also sitting. He's the
Vaibhav.
big director of our department.
So I can clearly see that so the pace of the whole reason why AI is being so disruptive and will be very disruptive is because it's tremendous pace of learning which completely puts aside the human pace of learning.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, there's no doubt that there is going to be very disruptive effect. And first it will supplement, because that's where the cost benefit lies. So, but then it is the onus comes to the education and the skilling part, that are we able to raise the game to make it from supplement to complement.
Correct.
And that is where the quality and scale and speed, all three are going to be very important at the same time. And either quality or scale or speed, you falter on one of those factors, it is going to be very difficult.
It's actually very easily, I was seeing somewhere, somebody was telling, it's not, to a young fellow, somebody was telling, it's not AI who is going to replace you. It's a guy who knows AI is going to replace you. So that's as simple they put it.
And there will be another guy who knows AI better who will replace this guy. So, see, it's the food chain, you know. So, the problem, at the end of the day, I'll tell you, last year I went to Dubai in a HR Tech conference and I made a presentation which was a very contrarian presentation from where they were looking at the world. And I'm still talking about, 2023, people were still a little bit thinking about, the jobs are going to go away and things like that. I think one thing is very clear, that a lot of jobs have got created in the services sector. Those are the ones first going to get impacted.
Coders.
Even?
Coders.
Yeah, when I say
IT.
services, IT services.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so the first time the technology is going to hit the white collar
Yes.
and not so much the blue collar.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
Right. So, my technology can't do my plumbing.
Yeah.
Technology can't do my laundry.
Your agriculture, your this.
Right. So, agriculture, yes. Now, luckily, we have a huge transition on the core economy sector side also. Like this huge transition to the green energy is not a small change, it's a massive change. And if you ask me today, and every other industry, whether it's agriculture, construction, building construction, you said smart cities. Now, so you will have to, if you really see, there are like maybe 20 or 30 such sectors. There's only one or two sectors where supplement is going to be the big impact.
Absolutely.
Rest all sectors is going to be complement. But there's a problem. The problem is we have large domination of workforce in the services sector today.
Exactly.
So the supplement is going to be very challenging.
Exactly.
And the challenge is that the other sectors where AI is primary role is complement, there we are not training and skilling our people.
Exactly.
So for me, the game is not upskilling. The way I look at it, the game is skilling for these new sectors.
It's a horizontal
It's a
spread
horizontal
of
shift of the skills.
Yeah.
Take example of agriculture. Agriculture, there's so much scale, there's so much scope to skill on some of the basic new techniques that the whole agriculture sector in India can double in probably less than 10 years. It requires a little bit of more skilling.
Right.
Right. The differential is not huge. Some of the sectors require some technology development. If you take even petrochemicals, for example, petrochemicals is, or let's say the plastic and all these things are not the materials for the future. It's only a matter of time that these will get regulated. So this transition is what we have to capitalize.
Please, carry on. This Mr. Siddharth. Siddharth, please come here. Hi, Siddharth. Siddharth talked about he is the CEO of our Unigo companies that we talked about. Siddharth, why don't you take this, because we have spoken a lot. That's fine. Please have a seat. So, Vaibhav, please here. He has a lot of introspects on online education, and the way he spoke was not group actually. So much of introspects
I'll come and meet you there.
education, and especially the online education.
Will you be there in the lab?
Was fantastic. And his approach of meeting us is something that what we
Somebody can be there.
Dr. Datta.
I'll definitely not like to disturb your calendar and schedule. So
Yeah, maybe we can,
yeah, definitely. Yes.
maybe when she comes to the lab, we'll have a discussion. I'm available.
Good to meet you, sir.
Yes,
Wonderful.
I'm head of this, director of this AS and artificial intelligence.
Right. I would love to catch up with you separately sometime.
Yeah, all this.
He's been meeting us.
Ah.
Other day he was sitting with us for implementing AI courses in all the program across Amity University.
Wonderful, yeah, we're trying to, then imagine like a basic.
मैं करता हूँ आपको. I'll connect with you.
Very nice.
My daughter is studying content computing. I would love to understand. She's in Cambridge.
Very nice.
Right. Thank you.
Right, मिलते हैं.
AI scientist बोलने से तो बड़ा खुश होते हैं.
बहुत.
How
would be trending it?
The only difference is
Hashtag trending.
But you see, 2018,
Yes.
so when AI was not so predominant, I built the first AI lab with a 28 crore rupees budget in government of Uttar Pradesh. I was in the Lucknow for some time.
Right. That's my hometown.
So are you from Lucknow? I was working in Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University.
Right, right.
Inside there is a center for advanced studies, which is a new center I come up. I was the director there. So 2018 we took 28 crore rupees build a lab. And आज तो 6 साल बाद लोगों को AI समझ में आ रहा है. So I'm there long back. पुराना कॉपी टाइप के आदमी.
Great to meet you.
Using the founder's language. Good.
What did I miss, Vaibhav?
nothing much. No, we're just chit-chatting a little bit on education, technology, scaling, all kind of stuff. So then Professor Vinash kindly said that Mr. Siddharth will also join in for a discussion. So I'm Vaibhav, I'm from the Reliance Industries. I had a job for the Reliance Industries.
कागज जी माइक ही ले लीजिए फिर इधर ये थोड़ा ओपन है ना सो वी
हाँ.
So-
I'll just, no, maybe it will be useful also.
So I had a job for the oil and gas business.
Right.
Did some projects on HR technology, personal education technology, relates to passion, a lot more goes on.
Right.
So I think we touched upon some pressing issues, how online education, the government is also pushing.
Yes.
But how to meet the challenge of and if you talk of multiple degrees and lifetime careers, then it actually becomes a 50 crore, 100 crore kind of population. So what are the main issues and challenges in terms of this space? And is it really scaling up? Probably doing a lot, but
Yes.
against the challenge,
Challenge.
probably it's not,
Yes.
still not near where it should be.
Yes.
You just open brainstorming discussions.
So maybe a couple of thoughts. And obviously with Reliance, one understands that it's directly about scale. So not you're not talking about a few thousands, you're talking millions.
But this is in the Reliance, I just want to clarify this is a great which goes on education.
Of course.
Not a foundation.
Yes.
There's more coming from my passion.
The foundation side probably looks like GO University.
University is another one. And then another foundation is education. A couple of apps and then she also I don't think they're really white. So they're like any other large corporate.
So maybe a couple of thoughts which might be interesting for you, and specifically so because we are in constant touch with the market, with the ecosystem. firstly, just in terms of context setting, my name is Siddharth Banerjee. 25 years in the corporate world, foundational years, like Reliance, foundational years with a large conglomerate, Hindustan Lever, and then the parent company, Unilever, in a couple of foreign locations. Understand the telecom side of the business because then I moved to Vodafone and was there for a couple of years, heading up marketing to Vodafone. This is also the era of the 4G pattern.
So he is requesting to speak in the mic, he is recording.
Oh, okay. Couple of years in Vodafone, and then I have moved into education, digital environments, and then education. Facebook, part of the leadership team in India, so I understand also the partnership that Facebook has with Geo platforms. And then previously, I was the managing director for Pearson, which is the British education giant, managing director for India and Asia. Before I moved to Univo. At Univo, we are in the service of universities seeking to go online. So we are what I love to call as the Intel Inside for any university which is seeking to build an online presence for specifically the online degree part of the business. So while there are certifications, etc. as well, we have focused a lot of our efforts on the center of the plate, which is the online degree. And like you said, in 2019 and 2022, the UGC has, the regulator has made specific positive moves towards enabling online degrees and granting equivalence in terms of online being recognized as equal to offline degrees, etc. So we are working in an era where there are favorable tailwinds from a policy making side, favorable tailwinds from a consumer side, a lot of that enabled by smartphones, use cases of using data for many different categories, including education. And so therefore we are seeing a massive uptake for online degrees. I'll give you some numbers in a bit. Univo was, like Dr. Datta was talking about AI way back in 2018 when it was not fashionable. Univo was set up as a seed experiment or a seed pilot by the Amity promoter family in 2018 as an LLP company to see what could be the potential of online degrees and online education. And this we are talking about pre-pandemic, pre-lockdown, pre all the hype and hoopla of EdTech, etc. Rapidly got product market fit, got scale, and in 2022 we became a private limited company and the avatar of the company that you see now. Over the last 2.5, now close to 3 years, Univo has built itself to a status where now we are India's largest enabler of online degrees. Our key and our biggest partner university is Amity Online, and we have 2 leaders here we work deeply with, closely with. 55,000 students as we speak, Amity Online, and very soon in the next 1.5 years the 55,000 students, which increases every month, will be crossing the 100,000 number. This I'm talking about online degrees. We have partnerships with a couple of other universities as well, and we have become, we are one of those companies that has a firm eye on building relationships, building scale, while keeping a firm eye on profitability. So we don't spend lavishly. There is no Shah Rukh Khan that you will see, etc. We are just in the service of building the university brand, and through the university brand, providing the right student experience to the learners of that partner university. And that's the business that we do. So that's the first kind of call of business, to enable universities to go online. The second value that we bring in onto the table is try and bridge the industry academia gap. What do I mean by that? And we have Professor Binash and Monica here who work deeply with us. We speak to corporate partners. For example, the most recent one has been HCL Technologies, where we have embedded their courses, their content, their projects, capstone projects, expert sessions into the content of some of the tech courses that we offer, the MCA, the Master of Computer Application, or the BCA. And we are able to give an enriched degree to the online learner, which is in tune with the needs of the market. If they were to go in for a career in software or cloud or cybersecurity, some of the things that the industry expects, because of the tie-up with, in this case, HCL Technologies, is already embedded as content into the degrees. So we are in the service of making the product itself also enriched. And with that, we are able to also charge a premium. So often online education is seen as, hey, is this a poor cousin of offline? And I'm just saying that because I'm just putting all the thoughts on the table here. And therefore our attempt is to enrich the online degree as well. While we might not have the campus canteen experience, but we can definitely have the industry, suited for industry and fit for industry elements that students look forward to when they are embarking on their first job, or when they are embarking on an online degree, giving them a promotion or a leg up if they are already working. We have done similar types with TCS Iron, in conversation with IBM and a couple of other industry partners to continuously keep enriching the portfolio of degrees that we offer. In this case, the examples are from Amity Online, which is our biggest partner. But our intent is that as we work with other partners as well, we gain enough insight, we gain enough scale that we are able to bring some of these services of bridging the industry academia gap to those partner universities as well. And finally, the third value that we try and bring onto the table is career services. We believe that, of course, the center of the plate, the online degree is important, which is education, but also employability. So right from group discussion to fluency in language, to personality development, to confidence building, to working in cohorts, etc. That's another skill or muscle that we are building for our online students, for them to get the right education, but also be employable in a market which is extremely competitive, where the aspiration is for elements of employability that equip them for a better future. So that's really what Univo does in partnership with universities, the primary university being, of course, Amity. Just a little bit on Univo. We are an investor-driven, board-driven company. Our key shareholders are the Amity promoter family and Avenue, which is an American online education institution. Interesting bit about Avenue is that it is in turn funded by SNHU, Southern New Hampshire University, which is one of the largest online universities in the US, and by Seek Capital, which is a growth stage firm based out of Australia. Interesting fun fact about Seek Capital is that they were one of the early investors into Coursera, so they understand this space. And what excites me about Univo and being part of Univo is that we are kind of born from the university ecosystem. Amity at one end and Avenue stroke SNHU at the other. So we, in a manner of speaking, understand the learners, the university, the strengths of the university setup, how to work in the university setup, etc. So that's a little bit about who we are. We are 3 years in, so 2022, and now the third year is kind of progressing. And that's how we are seeking to kind of play our part in the Indian education ecosystem. So for example, if there were to be, you know, and I'll also tell you of how some of our partner organizations are using our online degrees. So for example, HCL Tech is also a customer in terms of being an enterprise customer. So they look at young kids coming out of class 12 who they want as software engineers. And so there is a program that they have got called TechBees, where class 12 kids coming into HCL joining are also parallelly pursuing a degree with Amity University, facilitated by Univo. So while they are working and gaining real world experience, they're also gaining a degree. Similarly, we've tied up with a couple of coaching institutes that look at banking exams, where kids are taking banking exams or the IAS, the civil services. And in parallel, they are earning a degree which would be kind of valuable for them currently as a plan B, but also as a future step or a stepping stone into a different life and career. So different ways of looking at an online degree. Our largest cohorts are working professional, people who think that they want to have an online degree to enrich their careers, to enrich opportunities for promotion. And then we have fascinating set of other personas as well, career pivoters. So for example, B.Ed teachers who are pursuing a psychology degree to pivot into a space like mental health. We have entrepreneurs who are looking to, while building their businesses small or big, looking to have a degree so that they get the fluency, the vocabulary, the theory of building businesses or understanding technology, but at the same time also having an affiliation with an institution. And we've seen that when, for example, Amity has recently started this whole social connect called Be Social, there's a huge uptake for it because people want to belong to a community in the space of online education. So that's a little bit of a context for you. I'll just end with, you're absolutely right, the numbers are far smaller than the TAM, the potential. And the potential is anywhere between a 4 crore to a 7 crore number annually. Currently, there are only very few online higher education institutions who are giving online degrees with some degree of scale. The largest is Amity today, Amity Online, but perhaps that is also because there was a first mover advantage, the first university to be recognized by the government in 2019, and then quality that has carried these big numbers. There are a couple of others, but you can count literally the number of universities on your fingers who have scaled today. Amity being the largest, but who have the scale today. The others are just about on the learning curve as yet. So it is in true nature a sunrise industry, and it is not something that can succeed without there being ecosystem participation. So partnerships, enterprises playing their own role, and then of course universities building their capabilities with partners like us. So that's a little bit about what we do and who we are.
Thank you, Siddharth. I think very impressive, and the whole vision in 2018, thinking and incubating something like that, of course, can only come from somebody like the founders of Amity University, no doubt. I think there's a lot to talk about, but I'll just limit it to one specific question I have on my mind in these. So these are kind of formal degrees.
Yes.
Typically 3 years.
Yes.
And onwards.
So 2 years in masters and 3 years in undergraduate.
Correct. What percentage is actually online live teaching as a pedagogy in the current format, and how do you see that percentage of online live teaching going in the future?
Great question. When we look at the UGC 4 quadrant, when we look at what the regulatory framework is, and we follow that, 80% is asynchronous. So these are recorded lectures, case studies, material that you can, because one of the cornerstones of online education is flexibility. So you can choose to learn at your own pace, and you can choose, more importantly, learn in your own hours. And like I said, a fair material amount percentage of our students are working professionals, so they actually prefer that they get asynchronous. Then about 10% is continuous evaluation, assessments, etc. And then there is another 10% of live doubt solving classes where there is actual interaction with professors. So that's the broad framework. Now, what is interesting is that technology is starting to play a very interesting role in engaging with the students. So if I talk about, and actually my colleagues at Amity Online have done such a fabulous job at this. Professor Amy, that's an AI-enabled mentor, or let's say, I mean, it's technology playing a part in clarification of doubts, pointing you to the right direction as a margdarshak, answering questions. before it kind of gets handed over to, let's say, human intervention. So there is a fair mix of technology that's involved here, but also, of course, real face-to-face contact with professors for doubt solving, which is, like I said, about 10%. Beyond this, I also wanted to share with you that there are possibilities for our online students to have campus experiences, like being invited to orientation sessions, which are done face-to-face and done in fairly large numbers by Professor Avinash, Monica and team. Sports day invitations, which is again a large event that people look forward to. More and more now, alumni events. So there are these elements that we have been familiar with in offline, so-called traditional scenarios, that we are also thinking about. I'll just make one last point. This is kind of still in the oven, we are working on it. Many of our students have also said that they would enjoy or they would want a larger percentage of hours on Campus Connect. So for example, currently working again with Amity University, we are building an MBA with Campus Connect, far greater percentage of Campus Connect where students can actually come down to campus and engage deeply with professors, get the college environment, and that will be entirely, they'll have to balance the time requirements for it to be fairly rigorous. So there the percentage of live in that sense goes up. It is of course going to be a little bit more expensive than the regular online courses, but that's the way in which we have seen the online education also shaping up, where different cohorts and different experience profile of students have different asks and aspirations.
I'll just add to what Siddharth is saying in terms of Campus Connect. So in terms of Campus Connect, a couple of other initiatives that we have now taken is inviting students for industry visits. So program-wise, cohort-wise, we invite students and we plan industry visits for them. And students come to the campus, we take them for industry visits, they also experience the campus. Other things that the students have access to, for example, is the library. So students can come to the library and utilize the facilities and study there. Towards the end of a session, closer to the examination, we also organize some on-campus classes. So where the students can come and interact with the faculty, revise some key topics, and also do doubt clearing face-to-face with the faculty. So I think all these things put together, in addition to what Siddharth was sharing, we try and also give to the students an experience of being part of the campus in person.
So as I mentioned earlier also, is that there is no restriction for the learner be a part of this university and can't access to any other campuses of Amity or other universities of Amity. It's all that they have to do is to carry their iCard, virtual iCard of course, and can do an access, because now we have been doing this orientation all across. Not that we are restricted to Delhi and NCR just because we are established here. We do it everywhere and we invite the students separately at all these locations, even abroad also. So these are the so supplementing to our concept of equivalence of the program from the regular and online. All these are the components that we are engaging the students for the better learning. And just to support this statement that these degrees are equivalent to regular programs. That's very, very important. So now, Vaibhavji, we would, because especially I've requested Siddharthji also to come and Dr. Monica also to come, is to understand, because now we should see some synergy between the Reliance Industries and Amity Online. Because as he mentioned and explained, in fact, as a head of Amity Online also, I think the way is that the areas that we are covering, the scope that we have, and industries where we, the first, our tie-up, if I recall, the first intervention was the industry and Amity was way back in the year 2000. When we started this concept of learn while learn, in the premises of Infosys, Bangalore, we did this, and Sudhaji was also a part of contributing this actually. So we went there for some discussion and then all this emerged. And in 5 days, they initiated and created a space for counseling the students, for supporting this statement of learn by learn. So it was huge success also. And hence, we are very, very, ever since then we are very, very careful and very effective, because we understand that these programs cannot be completed without the concept called reaching the artist. So therefore, we understand from you that what synergy that we see from the Reliance Industries, and especially from the area of innovations.
So I think synergy can be at multiple levels, but I think I can mainly speak more from an HR perspective. So I think in Reliance we have like an open access to the employees and their families to platforms like Coursera. So I think the chairman has been very particular even before the pandemic. We did that learning is the future. I think in terms of specificity, Reliance as an institution is very focused upon getting down to detail and the purpose and the outcome. Of course, we at the moment at a corporate level do not have requirements, for alternative degrees. That's not really the market. I'm not sure if you're looking at corporates or the corporates are coming with that, and it would be interesting to hear something like that.
They are actually, they are.
Non-IT sector.
So let me talk about non-IT sector. Let me talk about Indigo Airlines, where we are having a conversation with, and previously with SpiceJet, where we had a
lot of LGs, Samsung.
So a lot of, and I'm sure in the conglomerate that Reliance is, we can talk about synergies as well. But let me talk about, let's say, the airline sector. So flight stewards, air hostesses, on-ground staff, when they come into service, so they either do not have a college degree, or they might have a college degree, but they have aspirations for a better quality of education, or indeed a master's. So we're working with them in terms of our online degrees for both bachelor's and master's. So that's one example of non-IT. And this I'm talking about ground staff and flying staff of various airlines, Indigo being the latest conversation that I can share with you in the privacy of this room. Then, like Professor Avinash said, factory or white collar, if you may, for large manufacturing organizations, LG being one example, but a host of others as well, including QSR with McDonald's. So wherever there is an element of either retention, which is in IT specifically, retention or attrition rates is something that HR tries to solve for. Their online degrees becomes a ways and means of providing stickiness to an employee for a couple of years. So that's one. And in fact, this HCL TechBees program that I shared with you, I often wonder, and I have sent my teams to have deep conversations with other such tech organizations as well, Wipro, Infosys, and the likes, to say it's quite possible to replicate this model for the others as well. And like Professor Avinash said, Infosys way back 2000. So one, we are either solving for attrition stroke retention. The other way in which HR is looking at online degrees is skill building or capability building, so that you are able to apply some of the concepts that you learn back into your job. And to your point about being focused on outcomes, doing an online degree, let's say a 2-year master's, MBA, should result in improved performance of that individual, of that learner back in the job. And that should help the learner then aspire towards a promotion or a better outcome in terms of career path for the individual. So those are the conversations that we had with our enterprise partners.
Right. So I'm aware of these things, not of course, but in what's happening in Reliance and many other educational groups are offering. I'll be happy to set up a conversation on the retail side, because that's where I see the type of courses. I'm yet to see, not just from university, your Meti University, but also from but also from other institutions, especially on the core economy side, we are not able to see, very relevant courses coming up. And it could be not just, we talked earlier about upskilling, but also lateral skilling, for example, into the new energy sector. And I can't share how much is the paucity of availability of skilled engineers in the new energy sector today. It's huge.
Monica, you want to talk about all that you've done on telecom, VLSI? There are a couple
No,
of
so when I
things.
say new energy, I'm talking about
Green.
green energy.
Yes.
So I understand the VLSI and all, and of course that's another space which India doesn't really have. Whatever they had from institutes like IIT Kharagpur, all are sitting in Silicon Valley, right? So, and you understand that pretty well. But I'm saying even, let's say, take example of, we have such a huge diploma technical talent, right? If you look at, so I would go back to this, the whole definition of persona. So if you look at, I think there are at least 24 personas here. For example, diploma, ITI, technical engineers. Right now for them the best career path is they get some experience in tech, core economy, manufacturing sector and go to Middle East. That's clearly the high point of their career. And unfortunately in India we don't treat them as engineers even after so many years of experience, and sometimes being better than many of the engineers. In Reliance sometimes we don't have that restriction and we are able to do that justice to them. But if you look at that talent and you say, okay, the government is saying we want to do hydrogen, we want to do solar and other things. I can tell you, companies want to invest, they are not able to scale because there is shortage of technical talent. So I'm just giving those examples.
Yes.
And we can have this conversation maybe sometime later as a follow-up conversation.
Right.
So when we say 55,000, I still feel it's a very low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
I think if we go the persona route, this 55,000 can become 5.5 lakh pretty quickly. So, and personas for to solve a real gap or shortage in the industry, not the very expressed desired demand which exists today. It's a latent demand.
Right.
So I think that's where the huge game is. And when I see that side, some of the, like, I'll go back to the question, the person is live teaching, the pedagogy might have to shift significantly. So, because the 55,000 who are doing these degrees are pretty much self-learners. When you look at the total distribution of population, I think you'll have 10% self-learners and 10% who couldn't do it, but in the middle they all need a lot of human intervention. So the key question and challenge is going to be, and they can't visit campuses, they can't do a lot of these things. There's a cost element to it. The moment you scale, today
That's correct.
you're charging a premium. I would say you can't scale by premium. You have to actually lower the cost. And from a cost value chain perspective, how much is technology costing? What's your teacher-student ratio today coming out to be? You have to look at all the factors. Only then you will be able to scale. So I can't charge a premium to a diploma technical engineer to become a hydrogen diploma technical engineer now. He may not even need 2 years. He may just need maybe 1 year because he already knows the physics.
Yes.
So I think that's where the game really lies in scaling. Meeting the big industry gaps, designing specific programs, even diploma equivalent would do for them, and lowering the cost is the key. Without lowering the cost, I don't think in a country like India we can really scale. You'll essentially have customers who will do more second degrees, like you talk about pivoting, or you might have some corporate clients who will actually pay on behalf, But it's a limited market. Is my broad thoughts.
Well, just an add-on there. So we've spoken about degrees, and that's what Siddharth was talking when he said if I should talk about telecom. So we understand that there may be skill gaps, and the diploma holders who probably would not need those 2 year or 3 years of a degree program to be up to speed in the industry. I think here the certificate programs probably come into picture, where they can acquire the skills that are required of them to actually perform a certain job. And I think, so the telecommunication thing, we've partnered with the DADB, which is a German digital education organization, to offer a certificate program in 5G. Because 5G is something which,
Yes.
so that is what we've already done. We are also partnering with KPMG to launch certificate programs which may range from 3 months to 9 months, and also probably 11-month postgraduate certificate program, wherein they learn those skills which are over and above the diploma or the degree that they already have. And for that, it is not necessary that they probably do a PG or an MBA degree program, but they just add on to whatever they already have, acquire the skills from those certificate programs, and then they anyways upskill and come up to speed with whatever is required or the gap in the industry. Right? So data science, AI, the new things that we've been speaking about. So those are the things that at times, somebody who's probably doing, I would say, an MBA in finance would also want to know to come up to speed. Hey, I should be able to talk about data science. That may not be my core area of performance, but I still want to know. So I do not need a 1-year program to know about data science, because that's not my core area. But I definitely need to do a smaller certificate program of 3 months to be able to also understand if something is coming into my field. So I start there. So those smaller certificate programs, I think, will help in meeting those skill gaps at all the levels. Somebody who may want to pursue a career, yes, of course. Somebody who does not want to pursue a career but wants to understand in the context of what they are doing in their daily job, for them also to be able to meet their requirements also. So I think these smaller certificate programs that we've brought in with on 5G or on data science or on generative AI, we're working with, as I said, with KPMG and other partners also on that. I think they will be able to, these certificate programs should be able to contribute to meeting that skill gap that we are talking about and increasing the
So, well, no, but this is very interesting, thank you. And especially the latent skill gaps at low cost is a provocation that you've left with us to think about.
How definitely love to talk about it more later.
No,
Yes.
one more item which I discussed with you later is what they've done in Poland, what Unico can do.
Yeah, I'll
Create teachers.
I would. There's a lot to discuss. Like I said, it'll be good to remain connected.
Absolutely.
You're not there at that time.
Right.
You can relay. I'll tell you what he said.
I think
It's an idea you can
taken
work
a
on.
lot of time today.
No, it's fine. It's an opportunity, in fact, to understand. Prior your coming, there was a lot of discussion on online regulations and all this. But yes, Babuji, what's the focus of Reliance for leading their various segments people, and especially the telecom and the retail?
It's very good. I won't say that we have a solution. The intent is huge.
So how do we conduct our segment?
I'll definitely set a conversation with the chief development and specifically German resources.
That's so let's get in touch with.
Wonderful, thank you for pulling me in.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Nice meeting you. And I am surprised you did visit Reliance campus while you were in KSL.
Really, seriously, that was something that was always on the anvil, but was one. But we would love to do that.
Now, mind you, can still visit.
Thank you.
And I'm part of your union.
Thank you. I'll connect with you. All right. Thank you. Thank you again.